It is 12:58. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans running back Derrick Henry spoke to the media on Wednesday for the first time since before his injury on Halloween. Henry was asked if he expects to play on Saturday. He answered with a smile on his face.
Do I expect to play? See how this week goes, and we'll see where I'm at on Saturday.
Titans back on the practice field today. This from Jim Wyatt of TennesseeTitans.com. Corner Jackrabbit Jenkins and outside linebacker Derek Roberson returned to practice today for the two-tone blue. Speaking of Derrick Henry, he is now 15 days into the 21-day window where he can be elevated to the active roster from IR. The Titans will have up to Friday afternoon to activate the King for Saturday's divisional round matchup against Cincinnati in Nissan Stadium. Bit of news involving one of the other AFC teams still left in the playoffs. Chiefs linebacker Willie Gay Jr. arrested for misdemeanor property damage in Overland Park in Kansas City. Reportedly, the Chiefs will take on the Bills Sunday night in the AFC divisional round. Transfer portal news in college football. Former commitment to Tennessee wide receiver Isaiah Nayer out of Wyoming has flipped and signed with the Texans Longhorns. Also in Georgia, quarterback JT Daniels announced he will enter the transfer portal as Stetson Bennett announced his return to Athens for the 2022 season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Let's go. Thursday edition of Blaine and Mickey. What's up, everybody? How in the world are you doing on this beautiful winter Thursday? Titans and Bills. Woo. Blaine, we were just, a little over 2 days away?
Titans and Bengals.
Titans and Bengals. Did I say Bills? Yeah, I saw a tweet about
the Bengals.
I saw a picture of Josh Allen as I was walking in on my Twitter. Titans and Bengals before you freak out there. Once again, our director of corrections.
I mean, we won, so that was.
Well, I mean, Bills are going to play somebody the next day. The Bills will play this weekend. Titans and Bengals on Saturday at 3:30. So what's that? 51 hours and change away.
Well, you better at math than me.
Well, I'm not good at math, but I know 2 days is 48 hours.
Saturday at 3:30.
So I saw this. So let's start the show with this. I saw Ben Arthur. I saw Teron Davenport both tweeted this. Nobody missed practice today. Nobody. So yesterday, Jackrabbit and Derek Roberson. I saw a tweet actually yesterday from, of all people, Ian Rappaport about Jackrabbit Jenkins, and he said he is expected to play even though he missed yesterday. So nobody missed practice today in the what is this, 20th week of the season? Last week would have been week 19. The last week of the season was week 18. 20th week of the season. Titans get ready to play in the divisional round. They have nobody missing practice today on the injury report, but that's certainly good news about Jackrabbit Jenkins because, you're going to need all hands on deck, I would imagine, against this Bengals passing offense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And now, as far as everybody been healthy, well, who are going to be the backup? So who gets to dress and who doesn't now becomes a problem. It's a good problem, but trying to figure out who's, going to be the backup and try to calculate where you need extra bodies at each position group is always a great problem when you're a coach looking at it from the Titans. So that'll be kind of interesting on game day to see not only, the starters, we all know who those guys are, but who is going to get to dress. Man, that's pretty unique at this time compared to what they've been going through with 91 guys playing.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that 91 guys played, and the week that they played their first playoff game, which is the second week of the playoffs, nobody missed practice on Thursday before a Saturday game. And that's unbelievable. Now, Derrick Henry, we haven't gotten the email yet that he's made active. So he's still in that window. And
right till Friday at 3, right?
I have to make the announcement by tomorrow afternoon. That's right. So the Titans tweeted this out earlier, 91 players, a league high. Of course, that broke the record for the non-strike year of 87 when everybody had like a full team replacement of players. But what the Titans also tweeted out today, and I wanted to make a note of this just because it goes back to something you said, I don't know, probably 6 weeks ago that I'd never thought of. The Titans they tied with the Jags for the most offensive participants this year at 39. They did have the most defense by far. They had 43. Next was Texans and the Jets. And they tied for the most people to play special teams, 78, also with the Jets. Here's the thing you brought up. I don't know, like I said 6 weeks ago, all these dudes, everybody, even the backups, have all played big minutes because they had to.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you said, so that means as everybody gets healthy, you still have so many experienced players to take into the postseason because all these dudes had 39 players played offense, 43 played defense, 78 different guys played on special teams. So it's not like you're going to be sticking somebody out there on Saturday who go, no, tell me again, how do I do this?
Right. Well, you're probably going to lean towards, and I'm trying to figure out who, the mindset of most coaches is who has more experience, whether it's just playing time or even playoff playing time. Yeah. Because it is different with the speed of the game and the sense of urgency and everything else. And, you just have experience means a lot when it comes to the playoffs. So you go with an older guy that maybe is not as talented as a younger player, but he understands what needs to get done and how to accomplish it. So it's always, like I said before, it's a good problem, but it's going to be a tough problem because there's going to be some guys standing there. You go, man, he could help us out.
Yeah.
And you can only have so many players. I wish they would change the rule. I've been a big proponent on how many guys can dress. Man, I really want to get that number boosted up to like 60 or something. I know that's not like college or anything else, but I guess it's the way the NFL wants it, where you have to navigate through that to see if you can perform at a high level, and I guess that's a competitive way about going about it. But I want to have choices. I want to think like a coach. I want to have all available on deck, even if you're only going to probably have maybe 10 guys outside of backup linemen that are just standing there on the sideline that don't get in at all. So I don't think that's a lot at all.
It's funny because we were having this discussion about Derrick Henry before week 18. And somebody called in and said, let him get like 3 or 4 plays just to get hit. And you said, okay, but that's a roster spot for a guy to play 4 plays or 3.
Yeah.
You don't have that luxury in the NFL. You just can't do it.
But if you had those extra spots, as I was mentioning,
you can do it.
Right.
Well, to me, and you were a player, and people who've represented the players. Part of the deal with going to 17 games, I know they got to expand the practice squads and all that, but that was more because of COVID. Yeah. My thing would have been like, if we're going to play 17, we all know where the train is ultimately headed. It's headed to 18. Then it's ultimately going to head to 20, and we're just not going to play any preseason games. Expand the rosters to 60 people and let, 50 something, what is it now? 48 are active on game day and you have 53 on the roster. Expand the roster to 60 and let 55 people be active. Or just come up with a better number, because the fact that
I am not happy. I would have had mug face over there. Like, I would have been looking at this game, seeing everything that I need to do to make sure I dress. I'm playing. I'm sorry. That's the competitive nature. I mean, some guys do it differently. They can sit over and chop it up and then at practice get it. But no, I'm not that guy. No, I know I deserve to be out there. I've earned it, and I know I can play, and I want to be out there. Not unless I was unhealthy, then I could accept that. But that is not fun. This is not where I want to be, because I'm looking down the road. I'm going, I'm a free agent after this year if I'm Jayon Brown. Mm-hmm. Nah, bro. I don't want that tape show me on the sideline with no uniform on. He probably be like, well, if I'm only going to play 5 plays, why should I be dressed? Guess what? Because I'm going to be 5 plays on fire out there. And guess what? There's always a possibility that I get into the game with the way this game is built, and injuries is always part of this game. So, yeah, you dress, you play.
Yeah.
You may be going more than you think. So I wouldn't have been a happy camper. I wouldn't have been a happy camper the next day, the day after, the after that, all the way up to the next game. That's how I was. And most guys are that way. But I could say this, the OGs. Yeah, this generation here, like, oh, well, my check's still the same. I don't care about no freaking check. I care about I'm on that field balling. I'm a baller. It's like that's the way, and I'm sure he thinks that way. It's just that he just dealt with it differently.
Yeah.
Different personality. Yeah, that next practice on Wednesday, them guys would have thought it was a real game when I was out there. They would have thought it was a real game. Yep. They were like, "Dang, man, what's going on?" Nothing. Yeah. What's up with you? No. But I didn't see 55 on the field. That not happening there again.
So you about to see 55 all over the practice field today.
Yep. And
55
then I'm
about
going
to
to
hit
make them have to,
everything.
they're going to have to boot me. They're going to be like, man, we got to play him, man. Look, you see what these dudes doing? Yeah, they would have been mad. Hey, yeah, they would have had to take me out, man. They'd be like, hey, man, you may hurt somebody or hurt yourself.
Right.
I'm like, nah.
Cool off.
Yeah. No, there was no cool off. This is us how I play. Yeah.
No, I'm saying like, hey, man, go ahead. You done today.
Yeah, you done today.
Yeah, you good work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they was like, what's going on? Nothing. Nothing at all. Yeah, you just watched the tape. Did you see me? What tape? Not a practice. I didn't see myself in that game. I had to sit through a 3-hour meeting, and I'm not in the game. Matter of fact, I'm not dressed. No. That's the one thing that is hard to take as a professional athlete. Once you've had a taste of being a starter and playing, or even a special teamer, and you're playing a lot and you're participating, that is hard to sit there and be not dressed and you're not injured. That you can hear it in my voice. That would just be sickening for me.
He'd been a starter.
Yeah, man, that would not, man. I don't know how much I could stress it enough, man. I wouldn't have been too happy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's get one. Yeah, I can tell. Let's get
that man. They just once you got that taste of starting, you've been a starter for a year or two, you be like, man, this is some BS here, man. What the heck is going on?
Lucas, I know we got Elijah Molden who's set to join us. Do we need to go ahead and take our break to get him?
Or can we take this call?
He said we can take one. Let's get Heather from Ohio then real quick on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Hey, Heather, how you doing?
Woo.
I am wonderful. How you doing this afternoon, sir?
Yeah, we're
Fantastic.
Yes. I wanted to say this, that I am so excited for this game on Saturday, and I know everybody is going to be hyped up because I cannot wait to see number 22 come into the stadium, and everybody will say, Henry, 22 is on its way onto the field. And also, I want to see the Tennessee Titans do what they're supposed to do. It's going to be a rematch between the Bengals and the Titans, because the last time when we played against the Bengals, I don't know what's going on with that game, but I tell you one thing, they are in a house. The Titans is going to rock the stadium on the 22nd.
Yes, they are.
And also, I want to say is that Coach Bravo has done an amazing job with the team and the staff. But there's one thing I want to say this to offense coordinator Ty Downing. He better not screw this game up.
Heather, thank you for the call. Thank you. She ends with the party shot. It's on down.
I thought she was going to call a Super Bowl win or something.
I don't know. That took a dark turn at the end. Todd Downing, don't you screw this up.
Whoa.
From very positive Heather. All right. Very positive Elijah Molden will join us next. We'll talk to the Titans DB. That's coming up on Blaine and Mickey.
defense. Play fake. Standing in the end zone. He's in trouble. He tries to left-hand it out. It's intercepted by Molden. Touchdown, Titans!
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Woo, man, that's got me fired up. And you know what? The guy who scored that touchdown is on the other end of the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline right now. Elijah Molden joins us. Elijah, how in the world are you doing, man? Welcome into the show.
Man, I'm doing great. Appreciate y'all having me.
Yes, sir. Okay, this has been the longest season in NFL history. It's been the longest one. Let me ask you, as a rookie, how are you feeling after your rookie season being the longest one in history?
No, it definitely feels like it, especially with the COVID season last year. I only played 4 games last year, so going from that to preseason plus now, it's like if I don't have a one day at a time type of mentality, then it gets overwhelming. So I just take it one day at a time.
So we heard that highlight, which was such a fantastic play by yourself and really, your defensive teammates forcing the pressure and just everything that went down on that. But let me ask you, did you have a welcome to the NFL moment this year? A lot of rookies talk about that, like, okay, this is when it really hit me.
I mean, really, it was like probably like the early in the season, because going to preseason, I was doing well, and I was going against guys, but it wasn't like boom right off the bat. You're going against starters in Arizona, you're going against Russell Wilson, blah blah blah. So it was like baptism by fire. That's the way I look at it. And I'm really glad it happened. I know it kind of jump started my career, and I'm excited for learning and growing.
Well, it seemed like as soon as you started to get your chance, though, we saw you immediately start to make plays. So, whatever nerves, whatever there might have been, you just jumped right into the fire and literally started making plays immediately.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt, the nerves are still there, thankfully, too, because that's what allows me to be instinctive and make plays. I just got to trust myself and to go out there and make them.
Elijah Molden, our guest Titans defensive back. You can follow him on Twitter at Elijah Molden 24.
Well, Elijah, man, thanks for coming on. I guess, firstly, did you set any goals? I know I set, minor goals, and I kind of exceeded those goals coming in. I just wanted to be a special team guy and then eventually get up playing a little bit more. Did you have any goals coming into the season, maybe after you did mini camp, and then once you got to training camp, you say, oh, these are things I need to work on, so then you came back a little more prepared for the NFL game?
I think so. I keep a lot of my personal goals just to myself. That's just something I've always done. I feel like if I talk about them, then part of me kind of I don't know. It's not as special. You know what I mean? So, but in terms of just kind of like the broad goals I set for myself, I wanted to help the team any way I could, and just keep on developing my role. I wanted to get better throughout the season. I feel like I've been doing that.
I appreciate that answer, Elijah, man. I appreciate it. A lot of people always ask me this, parents, and that is when you're playing defensive back, kind of give us a hint into the psychology of it. When you get beat for a play or a touchdown, tell us how you kind of process that information and able to come back and then make a play, maybe the next series or so. Kind of take people through what you do to help you be as good of a player that you are.
Yeah. I just remind myself that the game is really long, you know what I mean? And also the best players in the game have gotten beat. You know what I mean? You're never going to have a perfect game, a perfect season. So, after those plays, which are inevitable, it's like there's still a lot of ball left to go out there and kind of make up for it. And that's easier said than done too. You know what I mean? As a competitor, we like to kind of hold on to that and run it over in our minds. But ultimately, I feel like if you ruminate on it, then it'll affect your playmaking ability in the future.
Has the game slowed at some part of the season for you? I know he talked about the aha moment, but for me, I got in the game. It took me about 2 or 3 games for where I felt like, the game feels like college now. I'm about to take off, and it's exactly what happened. And sometimes it never really happens. You're always kind of fighting against it. Did that ever happen to you where you realized it started slowing down for you?
Yeah, I feel like it didn't necessarily slow down. It's just I got faster mentally.
Got you. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of especially like playing nickel or safety. You know, like you always have to have your head on a swivel. It's kind of like juggling. You know what I mean? You got to be able to adapt and be flexible. So that's just something that kind of having that analogy as like you know, you're juggling multiple possibilities and situations. That has helped me.
Yeah, processing a lot of information and getting all your tea leaves together and going through your checklist immediately at a drop of a hat is exactly what you're talking about. And that's what great players have that can do that and think on their feet and quickly, by the way, especially being a defensive back when it's the hardest position on the field physically. I guess break down lastly for me, give us a little bit about Cincy's passing game and what you have to do to be effective.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they play with a lot of confidence for good reason. You know, they've been lighting up the league, so we know it's a big challenge for us, and they're going to give us a lot of opportunities just from how much they throw the ball. You know, with that being said, they can also run it. They got a great running back over there, so it's a challenge that we're prepared for, and you know we've been doing our thing since we got the information that we were playing them earlier in the week.
Oh, I got to ask you one more thing. They were talking about
talking to someone about this. Like, I don't really even listen to music. I don't listen to music a whole lot right now because it's always playing in the locker room. Like, I don't have to.
Oh, got you.
I don't have to find these songs because KB's always got the speaker going.
There you have it. Well, with Elijah Molden, defensive back for the Tennessee Titans.
It seems like there's such great chemistry in that defensive back room, and I've heard different guys talk about how they've been helped by other guys throughout this year. What's it like to join a room like that full of so many veterans and to have guys who are, helping and passing on knowledge and being such good teammates?
Oh, it's made all the difference. You know, I think there's so many people I can just talk about within that room. But it just all goes back to trust. You know what I mean? I think we trust one another, and then I ask a lot of questions, whether that's from Buster or KB. Like, they all have a different perspective, and they're just so willing to help, and I've definitely felt that chemistry go up throughout the year.
Elijah Molden, our guest Titans defensive back. You mentioned Buster. Elijah, you guys had 91 dudes who played in games this year for this team. How were you guys able? Because sometimes a guy just came off the couch and then in some cases just started. How have you guys been able to acclimate guys out there in the lineup and then play effectively for you?
Well, I think Buster, he's played for such a long time in the league that he's able to come into a new system like ours and still play fast, just because he's seen a lot of football, and a lot of times in the league, it's like stuff repeats itself. It's just kind of different verbiage for the same thing. So the way he kind of came in and started contributing right away, it was like, it was definitely something to admire from my perspective.
Well, and he seems like you, and that he's a very versatile player. That's got to be something you take pride in, that you can really go out there and play multiple roles in the defense. Yeah,
and he's helped me with that a lot too. Like, he's helped me break down different techniques and different situations. So he's been a veteran who's like, I can tell in a couple of years looking back, I'll try and be a veteran like him.
Elijah Molden, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey, talking some Titans football ahead of Saturday's game against the Bengals.
Well, Elijah, I know you're a West Coast guy, so does your family get over here to watch a lot of games? You have to get tickets for a lot of games, or they just kind of come randomly when they have free time? I'm trying to give me some tickets, man, just in case you got your couple, man.
All right. No, don't go. You'll resell them for a lot of money then. My mom, she manages. She's been out here a couple times, really. So she's coming out again with my two youngest siblings. They're 8 and 11. So they don't appreciate the game as much as my older siblings, but they're looking forward to coming. So they get in tomorrow morning.
Well, that's pretty cool to get that kind of support. I was wondering, man, What's the loudest game you've ever played in? And it could be in college. I mean, it could be in high school if it was. And the reason why I asked that because I think this stadium is going to be rocking like it was back in my day, and you couldn't
Right.
even hear each other, especially on defense. So I want to hear the loudest game you played in, and what issues did it have, and did y'all create some hand signals out there?
Yep, I'd probably say, in college, like a lot of those stadiums, they got the way it's built. It's like a dome, so so it echoes. So Autzen is really loud, and then we had a game versus Stanford at home that was really loud. But in terms of at home, I think the Bills game this year got really loud, and then the Seahawks game away as well. I gave you 4 answers, but no, I'm looking forward to the noise we can bring on Saturday. That always helps the defense.
Right. Talk a little bit about that, how that helps, and also how it may can hurt to a certain extent if you view it that way. Because for me, it was always like, man, I can't hear the checks, I can't hear what they're saying. The quarterback is up here. You start stealing some of the information when you're out there. So there's also issues like that.
Yeah, well, I think kind of what we were talking about earlier, like in terms of the chemistry being built throughout the year. Now, like a lot of the times, I'll know what KB or Amani are make. I know their checks before they even have to make them. So we're on the same page a lot of the time. And then in terms of like what that does to an offense, they can jump off sides or kind of miscommunication errors and stuff like that.
All right. Before we let you go, I have to do this. I don't know if you can even simulate this in your mind. Let's just use the interception versus the Colts. Go through when you lined up everything that you communicated and what you were thinking before the ball was snapped, and then take us through the play and then what happened, and then you intercepted and went and ran for a touchdown. It was easy. So kind of take us through all that's going through your mind. Just as fast as I'm talking, that's about as fast as you thinking. I know it.
Yeah. I mean, I was like a money linebacker during that play, so the nickel's usually the one who's doing a lot of the communication. So I just lined up opposite of him. I looked at the formation and saw that my guy, we were in man coverage, so he was close to the offensive lineman. I knew he was going to end up chipping. I wouldn't have to really cover him too far down the field. So he chipped, and then I saw Bud and everyone else have pressure on him. I saw a lineman start to get out and try and block me, so I knew it was a version of a screen. Made a miss, and then saw the ball up in the air, and that was it. And it all happened in 5 seconds. So.
So when you jump for the ball, you're just like, oh, man, there it is. Oh, I'm going to go get it. You were just like, oh, there's the ball. I'm going to go get it.
I got punched right in the stomach. So I made the play, and like I wanted to celebrate, but like I really couldn't breathe. It was horrible.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, there you have it. There's Elijah Molden. Quick on his feet and moves just as fast, and he just make sure he doesn't want to get punched in the stomach.
Yeah, right.
Appreciate Elijah.
I did want to ask you this before you go. I looked. Your dad had a great NFL career. A lot of people certainly remember him, Alex. He only got to play in 2 postseason games. Has he kind of told you about the significance, like what a big deal this is, that even as a rookie you're going to get to suit up and play in the NFL postseason?
Oh, 100%. He just says how lucky I am. Like he played for teams that weren't, like you said. Most of the time he wasn't playing on like winning teams. I think one of his only playoff win was with Coach Hazlitt, who's here now. So we've kind of had fun talking about it. But no, I mean he just says take it all in, soak it up. Like it's not like this for everyone, especially your rookie year.
Well, did they give you any hints though that how the postseason, the playoffs, the game speeds up a little bit even faster? Has somebody told you that?
Yeah, he did. He said he was like, for whatever reason, everything is just everything happens quicker. Everyone's more efficient, and there's just a different underlying feeling. I feel like you can even just feel that from watching at home. So.
All right. One last one before we go. I know fans are super excited about the return of Derek. Not just him, Elijah. The team, I guess, didn't have anybody who missed practice yesterday. It's got to be exciting to see the team as healthy as it is right now. And maybe there is a little bit of a pickup, maybe a pick-me-up to see a guy like Derek able to come back and contribute.
Yeah, I think of course he gives us a lot of confidence on both sides of the ball. just the type of leader he is and his presence on the field. So this is definitely a week where it's sudden death. So people say the season's a marathon, but right now it's a sprint every week. So I'm gonna go out there and sell out.
Well, we hope to see you guys sprint to a win on Saturday. It's been a lot of fun watching you play, and great getting to know you a little bit on the air today. Thank you, buddy, and best of luck on Saturday.
Yeah, good luck, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. No, thank you both for having me. Appreciate
Yes, sir.
it.
And hey, happy upcoming birthday. We understand you're about to be 23 next weekend. So happy early birthday.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Elijah Molden. Follow him on Twitter at Elijah Molden 24. That'll get it for you. Titans defensive back. Blaine, a really versatile guy, which I know that's something you started out your career.
Yeah, just kind of just like that.
Kind of just like that. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
no.
how can I get on the field and how can I help?
Yeah, playing he called it the linebacker, dime linebacker. We just call it the dime position, which you're and that's how you get in and, show your worth, and playing against a lot of the tight ends, covering the tight ends. Guys are a lot bigger than you, so you learn all the cheats and holds and everything else around the way. So are they trying to bully you and everything else? And you got to be tough, and you have to think quick. A lot of guys aren't quick thinkers at certain positions. Some you just have to have it. So there's a lot of communication going on, and you already have to know where to be looking when the ball snaps. While you're still communicating, you got to get to this comfort level. That's why I always talk about when they say, oh, we're just going to put you at the nickel. Like, anybody can play that because you're kind of a jack of all trades.
Right.
You're not a safety, you're not a linebacker, you're not a corner. You're really all of those things combined, let alone you have to be really sharp and a smart. Football IQ has to be off the charts.
Well, it's funny because when they drafted Christian Fulton, people said, well, they'll just stick him in the nickel. Well, no, not necessarily. And he got asked about it early on in his career, and he's like, there's a lot going on in here.
See?
Yeah.
Now, you have to practice it, not to say that he couldn't do it.
Right. Oh,
but
no. He's a talented cat. But he said, hey, man.
Hey, that's a different ball game.
Because fans think, well, it's just corner. It's nickel corner. And
it's the same
You're just
thing.
guarding the slot.
No, you get the blitz. You really a linebacker because they take the will linebacker out and you're in there. So guess what some teams do? Oh, y'all just took out, let's give it an example, just took out Keith Bullock.
Right.
And then now you bring in, Elijah Molden. Oh, we're going to run right at him. Right at him. We're going to see if he really wants to play the nickel. So they check right to you. You hear it and you like, uh-oh, here they come. So you better go face it.
So you're going to have a guy that's, 5'10", 205 in the spot where a guy who was 6'4", 255 just vacated.
Yeah.
Like, have at it.
Yeah. So it's
We're going to pull a guard right at you.
And naturally, Bullock never came off the field.
No.
But I was just trying to give
using
you
a
the
name
example.
people know.
Right,
Yes.
right. He was like, well, if you're going to go there, then I'm going to move on to the middle linebacker and I'm about to be Mr. Monday Night.
But there has to be some thought like, is my insurance license current? What did I major in? When you see a guard running at you on a pull play, like, okay, little fella.
Yeah.
Welcome to the fun zone.
Well, I used to try to play the mental games like, hey, man, how's your knee doing? He's like, what the heck are you talking about? Is that an implied threat? Yeah, I'm telling you, you watch out for your knees because there's no way I'm going to let you just like run over me. I have nowhere to go. I have to fill this gap. So I want to either you or me. So I'm just making sure I use my shoulder pad, not my temple or my head so I won't get concussed. So, yeah, that happened all the time. Yeah, I thought we were going to use that same technique or scheme versus the Rams in the Super Bowl. The first time we played them, we did this 8 DB package where we played the entire game, and I was in the box playing that dime safety spot because of the other players that we had. So I was the guy, and I told them after that game, we will never be having me in there doing that for an entire game. Yeah, because you check the slot, then you check the running back.
Right.
I mean, so it was just like, and then they checked to runs all day. My neck, my traps, they were knotted up like ever before. I couldn't even turn my neck after the game. They're like, you okay? No, do I look okay? No.
Who else on that defense, though, would you have said, if not me, stick him in there, though?
Well, they used a veteran the next time, Stevie Jackson.
Hmm.
Yeah, so they used a vet guy.
Stevie J was looking at you like,
player.
oh, yeah, you going to throw me in here?
Yep, and he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I said, I'm back there. I'm back there, man. I beat up, man. I was like, hey, I sold too. I said, hey, man, I still have a cast on my thumb, man. How can I do anything down there, man? They were like, oh, yeah, get up back there.
You use that cast sometimes as a weapon.
It was only only on my thumb by that time. It had gotten smaller and smaller each game. People don't realize I played with a cast in that Super Bowl and on my thumb. It was a thumb cast to your wrist. It was real small. I was so elated that I could have it that small for the Super Bowl. See, you never knew that, huh?
You must have had it taped up. I don't even remember.
No, it was a thumb cast.
Thumb cast.
Yeah, it was just for the thumb, and it went around over to my waist. I mean, my wrist. My waist. I wish my waist was that small.
All right, we're going to check out pictures of Blaine's thumb cast in this break. But when we come back, Willie McGinest. Lucas was hot on the dialing fingers this week. He got a 3-time Super Bowl winner, Mike Vrabel's former teammate. Willie McGinest will join us next. Big Will. That's next on Blaine and Mickey. checking in right now. We should have him on in just a second. Long-time NFL player, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, my goodness, just kills it now on the NFL Network. West Coast guy. I think he's even calling in from out there. Some beautiful weather.
Mm-hmm.
So we should have him on here in just a second.
Yeah, Big Will, man. Yeah, USC guy, man. They was all over the place. Former teammate of Mike Vrabel. Oh man, you know what? You just made me think of a question just now. I have to ask him first too, man.
Well, here he is. Just fire away. Willie McGinest, NFL Network, 3-time Super Bowl champ, joins us now on Blaine.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, Big Will, man. I appreciate it, man. It's Blaine, man. I just thought of this question. Man, Mike Vrabel, you were his teammate, naturally. I won championships and everything else. But he played tight end. I'm trying to figure out, Will, why you didn't get to play tight end?
Well, first of all, he didn't play tight end.
Well,
He had
right.
a role.
He had a role. I'm sorry. He had a role.
Like, you see linemen out there lined up in a tight end position, but they're not tight end. So
Yeah. They never gave me the
was a
role.
Mike was a good athlete, and Mike kind of partitioned his way. You know, he kind of politicked his way in doing that. And we tried it in practice, and it happened. You know, he looked good at doing it, so we was like, what the heck? Let's do it. And Mike ended up having, I don't know, close to 10 touchdowns, man, for us. But that was never something I wanted to do. So I stayed in my lane and did what I needed to do on the other side of the ball.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it, man. First round pick, doing it all. One with Big Willie McGinest from NFL Network, NFL Total Access. Man, I love watching you guys chop it up on there, man. You guys have me cracking up. You guys do a great job, man. I got to ask you my first question to you about football will be, will he or won't he? I stole it from you, and I know this is y'all. This is your name. Will he or won't he? Will Derrick Henry, the King, rush for more yards than Mixon?
I think so. I think your defense, man, your front seven is stout. And since the bye week, if I'm not mistaken, you've only given up 53 yards per game rushing. So, Autry, and Simmons and Dupree and, the guys you guys got up front, along with the linebackers, Evans and Landry and all those guys, they do a really good job, man, at winning the one-on-one battles and stopping the run. And I think that's where it starts, playing with Vrabel and the school where we come from and the way we were coaching. If you don't win the trenches, it's going to be a long day. So I think it starts up front with stopping the run, and then everything else goes from there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with Willie McGinest from NFL Network. Talking about in the trenches, I want to ask you a personal question. When you played, who was the best offensive tackle you faced? It doesn't have to be a Hall of Fame player. It could be a couple guys. Because, every player has a player that gives them issues. It doesn't have to be a Hall of Fame player. You're just like, man, that guy, for whatever reason, he knows my counters and everything else. Who was that guy, man? I'm sure the list is long, but just give a couple guys.
One of the guys who knew a lot of the stuff that I did, man, was Willie Anderson, who was up for the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
But
from the Bengals.
Willie used to study me, from the Bengals, and Willie knew. And, man, Willie was huge, long arms, great feet. And he knew, he used to study like I studied him. So I get him with something, and the next time we play, he counter. He know what was going on. But just remember, I can't disrespect the tackles I played against.
Right.
I played against Jonathan Ogden, Hall of Famer, Willie Rofe, Tony Baselli. Yeah, I can go all the way down the line, man. I played against some of the best tackles to ever do it. So a lot of respect to those guys, a lot of battles. But, Willie was the guy who kind of knew, because he watched. He watched it. He watched tape. He was a student of the game. He kind of knew what was going on.
Well, naturally, you talked about in the trenches and, we the OGs, and that's how the style was when we played and everything else. But that's what Vrabel and that's what the Titans style is. Do you think this style, which is the same style when I played for the Titans, can win a Super Bowl with all these throwing around the yard and having fun and all the fun offenses? Do you think this style can win it?
Who won the Super Bowl last year?
Oh, I thought it was the Patriots. No, just kidding. Y'all always win. I mean, you don't know it was the Bucs.
It was the Bucs.
Yeah, I know.
It was the Bucs.
Yeah.
What did the Bucs do to the Kansas City offensive line in the trenches? Mahomes couldn't get a pass off.
Yeah.
They could not run the ball. They could not do anything. Devin White, David, their guys up front, Big Sue, Vita Vey, JPP, Barrett, they dominated. They dominated. They could not – Kansas City, as explosive as they were, they could not generate any type of offense. Mahomes could not get settled in the pocket as good as he is and still made plays. He just couldn't get any rhythm to get anything going. Look what the 49ers went down to Dallas and did. That was a physical beating. They ran the ball. They averaged the ball, 38 times for almost 170 yards. Yeah. Look what they did to Dak. 5 sacks, 14 quarterback hits. You tell me. I don't care how good you are on the outside. Yeah. I don't care how explosive you are. If you can't protect, if you can't run the ball, and if you can't get the ball to those weapons, it really don't matter, to be honest. It just don't. So the game starts in the trenches. If you can't protect or affect the pocket, I don't think you got a chance.
We're on here with Willie McGinest, keeping it real from NFL Network.
Willie, having played with Mike and for Bill Belichick for as long as you did with both, how much of Bill do you see in Mike as a coach, or do you see any? How much, if any?
I see a lot. Remember when they were doing the timeout, the possession thing with the
yes,
going
yes, oh yeah.
Where they play, where you think Mike got that stuff from? There were a lot of rules incorporated, when we played because of how well Bill knew the game and how well he knew the rule book. And I think, playing with Mike was always a student of the game and was always smart and always said he wanted to coach when he was done. So I think, observing what goes on, understanding, reading the rules, being up on all that stuff and being smart. Mike knows all those different things. He understands that. He was also a part of a lot of the formation things, that happened. As far as, where guys are lined up, the field goal rule that they just changed, where guys' feet can be. Like, Mike understands and knows. Like, it's all about preparation. It's all about knowing, the rules. It's all about putting guys in position and when it's the little fundamental things. It's technique. Mike comes from that school and understands that and knows.
Willie, for a lot of people who look at the Titans, they say, well, it's their quarterback play. It's Tannehill. That's why I don't think they can win. That seems to be a large narrative nationally. Where do you fall on Ryan Tannehill and what you think he can do leading this team to victory?
I think he's done a great job of leading his team for victory, but I also know that there's a certain style that he has to play in a certain system that they expect him to play. I don't expect him to go out and throw the ball 40 times a game, every single game. But if he has to do that, I think occasionally he's capable of doing it. But he has to have the weapons at his disposal. We saw what Ryan Tannehill looked like when A.J. Brown was injured, Julio was hurt without Derrick Henry. The turnovers spiked up. He was a little careless with the ball. He had too much on his plate, I believe, But the system that he's in, the program he's in, great defense, a defense that can turn the football over, get you multiple opportunities, a ferocious running game, and players on the outside that you can throw, a 4 or 5 yard slant. They can take it 50 or 60. You can throw the 50-50 ball up to them. They make those plays, and a good offensive line that can protect. So I think paired in the right system, like any other team, depending on who your quarterback is, you got to cater to what your quarterback's, level is. Aaron Rodgers may be a little bit different. Russell hasn't had great protection, all his whole career, but he can move the pocket and do different things with his legs, and he can create a little bit differently. So I think the situation is different for different quarterbacks. The system he's in now and what they put around him is perfect for Ryan Tannehill.
Willie McGinest, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, before we let you go, just one question. Give us a inside funny story of Braves, man, when you guys played, man.
Man, listen, Brave got me in some trouble before, man, where he did. Brave was dirty. I'm not gonna say what he did. I'm not gonna say what he did, but Brave is dirty. He is my brother, and I love him. And you know how it is, man. You know how it is, guys. When your brother get in some trouble, you go down with him. You right there with him. You talk about what he did later.
Okay.
One day we was at a Jets game and Brave did some dirty stuff. I mean, we had to convoy it to the bus because they was waiting on us. And it kind of put that fire out. But hell of a teammate. He was smart, very competitive. He knew how to get in players' heads.
Yeah.
I could say that. He talked about, something domestic. He talked about your license being revoked. Whatever it took to win or get in somebody's head, Brave knew it and took advantage of it. I'll just say that.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate it, Big Will, man, taking the time out, man, to come on the Blaine and Mickey show, man. God bless, and look forward to talking to you again.
Hey, man, you guys, I appreciate you having me, and good luck.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Willie McGinest, a fantastic football player. And he, like Blaine said, they crush it on NFL Network at Willie McGinest. You can follow him there and keep up with all the latest. Man, he was a good player. Great interview as well. We got a whole nother hour of the show coming up. Doug Mathews in the next hour, all the latest on Tennessee, including they lost a wide receiver who transferred to Texas. We'll get into that. Headlines next, including give you the Titans health report. You're going to like it. Blaine and Mickey.
It is 2:04. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans were back on the practice field today at St. Thomas Sports Park in preparation for Saturday's 3:30 kickoff in the divisional round against Cincinnati in Nissan Stadium. Mike Vrabel spoke to the media, was asked about Derrick Henry's progression and whether or not he'll be available on Saturday.
Being pad today, I think that's a good step. We'll have to have some contact. It's been a while, since he's had contact. We're going to have to do these things that come close to replicating what's going to be asked of him in a football game. So, again, we'll have a week of work, and we'll see how he feels, and we'll make a decision.
Vrabel also said no Titans players are ruled out for Saturday's game. On the Bengals front, defensive end Trey Hendrickson has been cleared from concussion protocol and will play against the Titans, according to Bengals head coach Zach Taylor. Transfer portal news in college football. Former Wyoming wide receiver Isaiah Nair, who previously was committed to Tennessee, has flipped and has signed with the Texas Longhorns. Also down in Athens, national championship winning quarterback Stetson Bennett announced his return to Athens for the 2022 season. Meanwhile, former five-star prospect and USC transfer JT Daniels announced he will enter the portal. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Woo! Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone, game week, divisional playoffs, NFL. Ooh, it's going to be a cold one on Saturday. Hey, Blaine Bishop, Mickey Ryan, Lucas Panzica here with you. By the way, you heard in his update, no Titans on the injury report today. Everyone, well, we haven't seen the paper report, but everyone practiced per multiple reports. That's great news.
And as much as you say that's great news, that makes me nervous. Only because this never happened.
I know.
So I'm like, something's not right. That's my paranoia there. I'm used to seeing a laundry list of players, and then we know, okay, we're going with this, this, and this, and hey, we got to, find a way to overcome those players that's not playing. Now everybody is healthy, so now I have a weird feeling.
It's just to overcome who's inactive right now. Literally. Like, what healthy dude's not going to play?
What about you, Lucas? Do you feel funny about that everybody's healthy? Because it's weird because it never happened all season?
Yeah, no? It feels strange. It does feel like there's a very jovial vibe coming off of St. Thomas Sports Park today. Like, I saw a video of Luan and Julio speaking together. Those two looked like they were in the best mood they've been in all season. Vrabel was pretty chipper talking to the media today, so just interesting.
Do you like that? Or how does that make you feel? Let me put on my psychiatrist hat.
They should be, comfortable. I mean, it's not game day, so it's not like you got to be in a bad mood right now. So it's just, I don't know. I just feel weird that everybody's healthy now. I don't know why.
Well, it is different.
That is horrible to say that.
It is different.
You should be elated and excited. It's like, is something going to go wrong? Is that, we're going to have an outbreak or something? I mean, I don't know, man.
Oh, by the way, Greg Maben did test. He went in the COVID protocol yesterday after we've been talking about that.
Greg Maben.
Yeah, Greg Maben.
Yeah, I think we can overcome Greg Maben.
Well, I mean,
I hate to say that, but I think we can overcome. And, by the way, I wanted to say this, speaking of DBs, you notice how Elijah Molden said screen and not Jackrabbit, or did he?
He said Buster. We had Elijah Molden on, and he talked about all the help he had gotten from Buster Screen.
Yeah.
I feel like there's and.
Well, there's some other corners on the team that are veterans, so I just, but he could have just missed out and didn't say his name. That happens all the time. We're going to critique every little bit of what they say, just like everybody does with what we say. So why not?
That's what Twitter's for.
No, it was all good.
Do you like the idea, because it's the same dirt that you played on over there? It's the same dirt.
No, they resided it.
Well, I know, but the dirt under that dirt is the same. By the way, you get potato chips grown in that dirt, apparently. Yes, Lay's sells potato chips that are grown from stadium dirt, supposedly.
Is that supposed to be good for your health?
I think they
long-term?
took one field in Idaho and threw a spoonful of dirt out there that they dug out.
Idaho.
Yeah,
and we're like, there you go.
it's got like team logos on the bags of chips, like
Yeah.
the Washington football team
Wasn't
put
it
it out.
like the dumbest thing in sports for you guys one week or something like that on Buck's
It was
show?
Bucks one day, but like the Washington football team won from that field. I feel like if you just eat a chip, your ACL will just immediately tear.
It'll just disintegrate.
The second you put that in your mouth.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So that's on the field.
Let's just
dirt
keep it,
is?
let's keep it moving. Do you like the idea of playing a greatest show on turf type team on half frozen dirt over here outside?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I wish the Super Bowl was on dirt.
I wish the Super Bowl
the
year 2000 was on dirt.
Moving a little bit differently on that turf in that dome, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a little bit different.
And I know they play outside, and I know it's cold in Cincinnati, but it is not turf. And this field is a living entity here, depending on how it's sodded and what it looks
depends.
like.
Even as the home team, you better go out there and check out the cleats you need to be wearing.
Yep.
Especially being a defensive back, because a slip could cost you a touchdown and maybe your job and the game.
No, it cost Jamar Chase some touchdowns.
Oh, yeah. Well, guess what? We got Fulton. He knows him.
He knows
Everybody, he played against him in high school.
But as you
and
keep pointing
college.
out, that goes both ways. They both know each other.
Yeah, he knows him, though. Yeah, Chase knows him, too. So, back and forth, if you want to go even Steven, that means if he gets a touchdown, that means Fulton's supposed to get an interception for a touchdown to make it even.
Would you settle for that? Touchdown for both?
No, I just settle for just shut him out. That's cool, too. And when I say shut out, man, hold him under 50.
Like 5 for 48.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Boy.
And not, he going to get targets. Yeah. Ooh. I wonder if they're going to play sides. I remember you asked me that the other day.
I asked you that.
I'm wondering what is Fulton, politic. Hey, man, I want to go against Chase every time. He is the best young receiver in the league and probably top 5 already.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You could say, hey, man, I got him. I'm like, I think I might want to play my side. He lines up on my side a lot already anyway, so let's just do that.
How they play defense in this game is fascinating to me. What they do to try to slow that down. And the Bengals run the ball, too.
Yeah.
They run. I want to say they ran it nearly as many times or maybe right out about the same as many times as the Titan did. Now, they threw it more because they ran more plays. But I want to say rush-wise, here, I can tell you because I took
I think everybody's been, whether you've been locally or nationally, been pretty on point on, that they throw the ball around the yard and the matchup is going to be about the offensive line of the Bengals versus the defensive front four. And you say the Titans win that. And you say, well, how often do they win that? Because he's going to be able to throw the ball and how quick and everything else is a whole nother question. But can you keep him in the pocket? I think early in the game, I think the Titans are going to be, with the fans and everything else going to be swarming. I actually want the defense to start off because that kind of energy and the hypeness of the stadium and the fans could bring a whole bunch of energy. And once you get them kind of willing a little bit, you can kind of carry that momentum for another quarter maybe. So kind of want that so they can see, hey, this team is different than any team we faced. And they've done decent against teams that can rush the passer.
Yeah.
So you got to play some zone. You got to disguise. I think they know all the things they have to do, of course. But this guy, they're going to get there. It's just a matter of just keeping them in front of you and containing them, which Vrabel has actually said.
Let me check myself before I wreck myself.
I know.
They actually threw it about the same number of times. I knew one of the numbers about the same. The Titans and the Bengals the Bengals only threw it 20 more times this year than the Titans. Mm-hmm. Titans ran it 100+ more times than they did. The Bengals threw it only 20 more times than the Titans all season. That was a number that surprised me. 535 throws for the Titans. Bengals, 555. Only 20 more pass attempts.
Well, you got to put it in context, though. How much do they throw per game? I know overall it'll show it, but, they are probably a little more balanced just like the Titans than we think.
Yeah.
I think they would lean a little more to throwing the football because of all the weapons they have. And Mixon is kind of slowed down a little bit here at the end. But he definitely can get it done running the football. And I think if I was them, I would throw the sharp passing game and I would run the football early versus the Titans. Just try to slow down that pass rush.
Yeah.
Because you only have so many rushes in you. Well, if you throw them real quick, they're going to start slowing down. They're like, hey, man, as soon as I step on my foot in the ground, I got to get and turn and run to the ball. Yeah. Or they run the ball. So I'm interested because once you're a passing team, you live off passing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or Burrow is your best player. You live off letting him make it happen. But this is going to be an interesting matchup. I'm excited, and a fan base should be too, because they potentially could, if the Titans do what they're supposed to with the defensive line, they could dominate this game. It could be a big number. But if they don't, and it's kind of an even match, it still favors the Titans, but it's going to be a close game throughout. And then, oh, by the way, I forgot, Bullock kicked for the Bengals, was one of his teams.
One of his teams.
Yeah, I think it may have been his first team. He was with the Texans, the Bengals.
He's traveled around a little bit, but yeah, Bengals are one of his teams.
Yeah, and the first thing my man Solomon Wilcox said to me from the Bengals, he covers them and played for them, is that, yeah, he has that curveball kick. I said, absolutely it does. They'll line up
right
on the hash.
to left. Right to left.
And guess what he followed up? Well, he said at least with the Bengals, that lasted for so long, but then when they needed him in clutch situations, he never hardly came through. I said, well, he's come through for the Titans most of the time. He said, well, I'm just saying that's really why they let him go, is because he couldn't make the clutch kicks. I said, oh, what?
Well, and
he made me really, I think my heart started fluttering. I did.
And the
I
Titans
started sweating.
had the most wins this year in 3-point games or less. The Titans actually have this in the supplemental.
And he's done pretty good.
6-1, and a couple of those were him.
Yeah, they were. But I still got nervous when they told me that, because it could always just come back after one little doink off the goalpost. You know, that could happen. But he said, really, that was the reason. Because before that, they said he had this curveball of a kick. And once he started missing, then they were like, uh-oh, we got to go. He wasn't clutch.
You missed somewhere else. That's how you wind up somewhere else.
But naturally, I was on a podcast, and the other person is the one who actually chimed in that he wasn't clutch. And so we could take that for what it's worth. It was Adam Pac-Man Jones who said that.
You and Pac-Man making it rain on a podcast.
Yeah. I was a guest on there. and trust me, I heard words I had never heard before on the podcast. But it was definitely entertaining, and I was laughing about like how you were on there.
Oh my gosh!
So it was hilarious.
We'll have to tweet that out from the Blaine Mickey account.
Yeah, but who would have thought? Oh, Adam Pac-Man Jones, man. All the knowledge he was spitting there, man, with the Bullock with the curveball kick and not clutch.
Pac-Man and the Hitman. Next is the Doug man. Coach Doug Mathews joins us on Blaine and Mickey.
The coach.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5, The Zone. Flying like an eagle through this afternoon. 3HL, I'll have you from 3 to 6. But right now, we're catching up with our buddy, Coach Doug Mathews. The coach joins us now. Coach, how you doing on this winter's day? Are you a big winter guy? Like, do you like freezing cold weather and snow and that kind of stuff?
Not particularly, but I don't mind it some. I think that's one of the neat things, kind of, where I grew up, about the same type of weather as here, and I enjoy a good snow every now and then. And the ice gets a little troublesome, but, you got to kind of learn to work around that. But now I don't mind it at all.
Well, do you mind when a receiver from Wyoming, where they always have plenty of this weather, looks like he's going to come to Tennessee in the transfer portal, and then he goes to visit Texas, and he puts on his social media that he's hook 'em horns now. They got one that got away, Isaiah Nayer, who really looks like a heck of a prospect.
Well, it certainly wasn't a surprise once that he went to Texas. I think he'd gone to a couple other places too, maybe Ole Miss and other places or two. He's from Texas.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And once Texas got after him, I know Tennessee, it wasn't a good feeling when they knew he was on Texas campus, because chances are that's probably where he was going to end up. Maybe he jumped the gun a little bit by saying he was coming to Tennessee, but that's kind of like a commitment in recruiting. It doesn't really make any difference until in recruiting you sign a letter, or in a transfer situation you have to show up on campus and actually go to a class. So but he was I know they really wanted him. I've seen some tape on him, but he's a big physical 6'2", 6'3" guy that can run, and he made a good choice. He's going to a place where they're going to throw the football also. Sarkisian's going to throw the ball around down there. And again, the fact that he was from Texas, I'm sure had a lot to do with it.
It's interesting, and Blaine brought this up just during the process of recruiting somebody. He and I were talking in a commercial earlier. A guy commits to you, but then he keeps making visits to other places. We were talking about it, and you're like, he keeps visiting other places. That means that commitment could go away. He can wind up. He can wind up somewhere else,
or
and
vice versa. Too, from the school, like, hey man, well, you keep visiting people, then we're not committed to you either.
Guys, back when I was recruiting, I did not, and neither did Coach Majors. We took a commitment, but it was under the understanding that you cannot visit anywhere else.
Right.
You still want to visit places. Don't tell us you're coming in. While we took it, we also let them know that, listen, this is a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
If someone comes along that we like better than you, then your commitment doesn't stick. If you're still visiting places, and there's a lot of reasons why some recruits give. I just I've never been to Southern California. I want to go to San Francisco or UCLA. I've never been to Florida, Miami, Florida. But the fact of the matter is, if you're visiting, you're not 100% made up. So, and what most schools know that. They know when a young man commits. There's a reason why you offer 400 or 500 scholarships. You only sign 25. What if 100 of those 500 that you offer commits to you? Well, you can't sign them all. So that's kind of the way the game's played a little bit. Yeah. Transfer portal a little bit different, but again, it's something that's brand new, and we still don't have our arms around that as coaches.
Doug Mathews gets this segment with us every week. You can always catch him on Blaine and Mickey, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. If you've put down some drinks, put down your keys. Remember, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you, just like Coach Mathews, by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Well, since we're going on the transfer portal and transfers, I guess give us your observation on Harrison Bailey going to UNLV. I know nothing about UNLV, who's the coach, what kind of offense they run, or what have you, but just kind of give us your take on that.
Well, from where this young man was, 3 years ago? Was he a high school senior 3 years ago, I believe?
Yeah, 19.
Been at Tennessee too. He was one of the most highly recruited pocket quarterbacks in the country, a five-star player. UNLV, I'm sure, has a good program. I couldn't tell you what the record was, who's coaching there the last time I watched him on TV. But
Randall Cunningham. Did he
Well,
go
I
there?
remember
He
watching
did.
him.
Yeah. Okay.
So did Kenny Mayne, the Sports Center anchor. He was
Oh,
Randall
did he?
backed him up
Oh, okay.
for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I can remember. I don't know. And then I know the basketball program.
But it was, hopefully it's a place where the young man can play. He was signed before Coach Heupel got there. He obviously, from looking at the other quarterbacks that Coach Heupel, the one he signed and the others he's brought in, he's not the mobile quarterback that Coach Heupel likes. I'm sure they had a conversation about the fact that, if you stay here, we'd love for you to stay, but, we're looking for someone that can run a little bit. And just think about what Tennessee's offense would have been this year if Hooker did not have the mobility to come out of the pocket. And I think in the type of offense that they run, they're not going to have a tight end in the game. They're going to be blocking with 5 offensive linemen. They're going to know they're going to be facing some blitzes and some, bringing 6 when he can only block 5. I think he's going to continue. Coach Heupel is going to continue to recruit quarterbacks who can pull the ball down and run and hurt you. And, in today's football, college football, if you play a lot of man coverage with 5 receivers going out all the time, you really don't have anybody underneath when a quarterback can get out and run it. So that's Coach Heupel's offense. Bailey did not fit that. He knew he was going to leave, and hopefully he'll end up at a good position, a good area. One of the things that we know is this now, with the way that the National Football League scouts, if you are playing football at any level, look at North Dakota State. They've had 2 first-round draft choices at quarterback. If you can play football, the NFL is going to find you. But the deal is you got to be out there playing where they can find you. So I understand these young men wanting to leave. And again, hopefully he does a good job. Don't know him. I know he's very highly thought of by his coaches as a young man, and hopefully he'll get out there and have some success.
No doubt about it. And Heupel, who makes all the decisions based off the quarterback, got an award himself, well deserved for first year coach of the year. And I think it was a Spurrier first year coach. But yeah, what are your thoughts on him being a first year head coach, doing really well? And he deserves that, and they did fairly well. This past season.
Yeah, I think that Spurrier was indeed when the first year coach at Florida got it. Mm-hmm. And then I think the award has been named for him after that.
Right.
He shared it with Beamer at South Carolina, who I thought had an excellent year. Mm-hmm. I did not think going into the season, I really did not think that South Carolina would win more than 2 or 3 ball games. And they won 7. So, it's now Tennessee beat them at that particular time, but that was a little bit earlier. South Carolina got better, but that's one thing. Those 2 really good young coaches, go-getters, who I think are going to make a splash in this league. I really do.
Well, with the Coach Doug Mathews.
Coach, I wanted to ask you this. Last time you were on, we just ran out of time, but there's a story about a kid from Dallas. He had an unbelievable career playing Texas high school football. He had 2 1AA offers. That was it. And his coach kept telling people, I don't know what you're missing about this guy. I don't know what. But he got 1 Division I offer, and then now he's going to have his pick of places to go. He's going to sign somewhere for the actual signing day, that's coming up in February. How does something like that happen where a kid has this? So he wasn't completely off the radar. He had a great career, and he had a fantastic senior year. It just took that 1 offer to kind of break the ice, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you one even better, that close to home. Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox is now one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Again, the tight end position is different now than it used to be. Dawson Knox played at Brentwood Academy. He was a quarterback there, played a little bit of wide receiver, did not have a single scholarship offer. Now, from Brentwood Academy, every college coach in America that recruits Middle Tennessee, and there's a bunch of them go through Brentwood Academy. He had to walk on down at Ole Miss, and look where he is now. I don't know if he made All Pro this year, but he darn sure was right in the talking conversation. And a lot of it is players playing out of position. Some of these smaller programs, if you're a bigger young man, you're probably going to be in the offensive line, because they have to have some linemen. That's a lot of you kind of get overlooked. But it's good to see, that's why the junior college route and the walk-on, that's why it's really not derogatory to be a walk-on. There's been a lot of really good football players that walk on somewhere and make a great career out of themselves if they get an opportunity. But we see it happen. It happens a lot. It certainly is not like I mentioned, if you're playing football anywhere in America, college coaches are going to see you. There's so much, everybody's got a huddle tape out there now. But you just don't see a fit, or maybe you don't have quite the body type, or maybe you aren't quite fast enough, or, I have never understood this. I've heard coaches talk about, well, his hands aren't big enough, or his arms aren't long enough. I say, how does he play on tape?
Right.
Yeah.
If he can catch the ball, I don't care if he, he can. There's a guy out there that has one arm that catches the ball as a heck of a pass receiver. So I've never understood all that, but it's easy to get overlooked. It really is. That's why you have to have, and Blaine can probably talk to this, because Blaine, Blaine's not 6'3".
Well, I was also a walk-on coach.
And walk-ons is tougher now. You can say
it
what
is
you
tougher
want.
now.
It is tougher, because you go in and you're down at the bottom. But if you show you can play, you're going to get up there and play. That's why I want to bring up Dawson Knox. He is a tremendous football player.
Yeah.
He didn't become a great athlete overnight.
No, he was a great athlete.
He was that way in high school. Just didn't quite get a fit there.
Did you have, who was the best recruit that you ever found that you felt like nobody even knows about this guy but me?
Oh, there's no doubt. And when I was at Tennessee, now some of the smaller schools I was at, it was a little bit different. There's no doubt it was Harry Galbraith. Harry Galbraith, who Philip Fulmer, after 28 years of a head coach and assistant coach in the offensive line, will tell you is the best. He doesn't even think about it. He'll tell you right at the top was Harry Galbraith. Harry Galbraith was from Clarksville, Tennessee. He had 2 scholarship offers. One was Austin Peay, which is right there, and the other was University of Tennessee. I took him for one reason. He if you watch him on tape, you watch him play, you say, this guy, and he had a red shirt, this guy can't, he just can't play. He was a wrestler, and he was physically strong. He was probably 6 foot tall, but a great player for us. I mean, a great player, and had a tremendous pro career also with Miami. And when he went to Green Bay, Harry signed at that time the largest contract ever for an offensive lineman. But without question, it was he. Nobody even close in all the times that I was recruiting.
There you go. Story time with the coach, Doug Mathews, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, I want to dive a little bit into this, with Tennessee having a lot of guys coming back. I'm like, man, this super senior stuff, man, it's kind of not only messing up high school recruiting a little bit, if you're that French guy, but also the guys that are actually on campus, because then they say, well, man, I got to wait another year my turn. So then they may enter the portal. I mean, did the NCAA make a mistake with that rule? How did that rule come about? Like, I know COVID and everything else, but the super seniors, because some of these, I'm like, dang, man, a guy now is going to graduate. He's going to be 25 or 26. Just think about that.
It came about because at the time, if you have to kind of go back.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Remember, there were some leagues that talked about not playing at all. Mm-hmm. And then
but everybody
back
played.
Well, maybe we'll play. I remember the OVC said you could play 4 games, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what the NCAA did, and it wasn't just football, by the way. It was every scholar, every athlete that played any sport in college. They said it does not count towards your eligibility. Then after that, and I think it was a good move, quite frankly. After that, it was you had some teams. Southeastern Conference played 10 games. Some of the others didn't play quite that many, but you're right. It's kind of interesting to me. I obviously, because of the Big Orange Sunday, keep up with the Tennessee part of it pretty heavy. And even you look at all these rosters now, they'll list a player as a sophomore, and he's in his second year, but he really has 4 years of eligibility left.
Yeah, right.
Because he could have been the Heisman Trophy winner of 2019, could come back another year if he wanted to. Everybody has that. Some young men are deciding to stay, and others aren't. But that's how it came about. Now, here was the deal on that though. The first year, 2020, all right, and the 2020, and coming back for 2021, all those young men, they did not count against the 85. So in other words, if you had young men whose eligibility was up that year and they gave them another year, you could have them above that 85. Starting this year, all the COVID players that come back, they have to get under that 85 limit. So it's still going to be pretty darn restricted because coaches have to decide, do I want to keep the 5, 6, 7, 10 young men that want to come back? That's going to cost me 10 scholarships. Some of them probably not going to play, or do I want to let them go and get other scholarships? So, but that's the big thing this year for the first time since COVID. You have to be under the 85 maximum scholarship when the season kicks off fall of 2022.
Well, Coach, I know you and Mickey know, but explain to all our listeners, you guys just signed a home and home with Washington, I think in 29 and 30. So you can kind of take us through that process with the coach or the AD and how that comes to life. And they decide on the years. Naturally, you've got to have an opening. Just kind of go through that, negotiating process.
Blaine, one of the things the University of Tennessee really has always done, going way back in their history, they were one of the first teams in the South, and still are one that they really try to play a national schedule. Tennessee, going way back, they played UCLA, they played Southern Cal, they played Oregon, they played Penn State, they played Notre Dame, they played Oklahoma. They try to play that one, with 4 non-conference games. Tennessee pretty much, now there's been some years when they were rebuilding, not very good, they didn't do it. But most of the time, they've played one really good intersectional game. As I mentioned, when I was at Tennessee, we played Southern Cal twice. We played UCLA twice. We played Washington State, Cal. But I think the Washington game, Tennessee, I don't believe has ever played Washington. I don't know that for a fact, but I cannot recall. I think that's a great ball game. But that's one thing that Tennessee's tried to do. That goes back through to Bob Woodruff, probably a little bit before that, with Neyland a little bit. Doug Dickey certainly did that as athletic director. And I'm glad to see this because let's face it, you got these stadiums you have to fill up. Washington is a team that is generally a tough football team, a very good football team. I'm glad to see them do it. But Tennessee was one of the, you go back and look at schedules from Southern teams. Very, very few of them play teams from the West Coast. Kind of conversely on that, you don't find very many Southeastern Conference teams and Big Ten teams playing during the season. They play a good bit in bowl games, but you don't see very many Southeastern Conference teams play Big Ten teams or vice versa on that. But I'm glad to see it, and I think it'll be Tennessee got Oklahoma next in 2023. They'll be playing those types of teams, and they normally are going to play a really tough non-conference powerhouse football team, at least historically powerhouse football team. They do that quite often.
Coach, great stuff. Thanks for the visit this week. As always, fantastic stories, and look forward to talking with you again soon.
Good enough. Thanks so much. Have a great week.
Yes, sir. Doug Mathews. Catch him on the station, as always, football Saturday and Big Orange Sunday. You can catch all the Coach Mathews you want. You can catch him every week here on Blaine and Mickey. When we come back, you can catch this stat. If the Titans can do this, they can beat the Bengals. I got a stat for you.
Score
next.
More than them.
Well, it's that, too. And Jackson from Jonesboro has been on hold. Jackson will get your call on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline next on Blaine and Mickey. Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert, on the line with me. Ryan, I was in the real estate business 13 years, and I'll tell you, I wouldn't put anybody in my car that wasn't pre-qualified. Blaine and Mickey pushing it through the afternoon here. Wow. Boy, this takes me back to the Daddy Goose Club in Truman, Arkansas.
Yeah. We see where Lucas's mind at.
Now that place,
my
that
God.
place sounds like
This song
somewhere to
is-
be.
Oh, it's a place to get shanked.
Lucas should have
Just
played
one-
this on Ding Dong Day. Yeah, baby,
Man,
push it good.
It's like some dudes fresh out of the county jail at the Daddy Goose Club on a Saturday night in Truman, Arkansas. My mom's listening. I never went. My friends did. I never went there.
What?
Nah, I never went. They just told me about it. Sometimes she listens. I love you, Mom. Speaking of people in Jonesboro, Jackson in Jonesboro has been on it. Yes.
This is a 3-week in a row. Somebody from Jonesboro.
I think
Is this
2
the
of
same
those are
person?
him. Yes.
Oh,
Jackson
okay.
checking in.
Cool,
What's up,
cool.
Jackson?
All right.
Hey, it's always me. It's always me.
Oh, it's always you.
I'm the
Okay.
only one over here.
Oh, yeah,
Hey,
you
I
and Mickey.
wanted to bring up. I know defensive backs have been the topic of the day pretty much all day. I've been listening all morning and all day pretty much. And I just want to bring up. I know you're the Titans fan. If you're not excited about Derrick Henry's return, that gets people fired up. But I think I'm more excited to see Jack Rabbit, Kevin Byard, Amani Hooker, Elijah Molden. We just talked to him earlier. Christian Fulton, those guys locking down on the Cincinnati Bengals receiving corps. Blaine, what do you think about that?
Well, I don't know what your version of lockdown.
Lock them down.
Yeah, lock them down. But my day meant like they don't do too much. But I think in this era, lock them down means, hey, you keep them under 70, their stud, Chase, Higgins. I mean, if the secondary plays well, that means that the front four played great. And that's always going to make your job a lot easier. So if they get after it, I'm pretty sure the Titans can do enough in the secondary to make sure, and Kevin Byard, if they let him be Kevin Byard and don't make him have to do a lot of different things instead of just letting him be the ball hog guy, those vertical throws to Chase, oh, man, I wouldn't be shocked if he got there and got maybe a tip ball or even over there for a pick reading the quarterback. They have so many weapons. At times, he's going to have to be on a tight end or on a slot receiver. So it'll be interesting to see how they implement him, who's the stud of the secondary, can play in any era, and how he's utilized and how much he impacts the game.
All-pro.
They
need him to play like an all-pro. If you're,
I didn't even understand this when I played. When they say you've made first-team all-pro, guess what you say? I am the best safety in the world. In the world.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that back naturally after I was done.
I'm sure. Right. Not after you made all pro.
It never transferred in my brain. That, dang. I was the best in the NFL, which means the world.
If you would have hit the cold tub after that, though, and went and watched some film, you wouldn't have just lived on that.
Hey, man, they tell me, my grandkids, hey, man, one day I was the best in the world. What you talking about? Man, go get this football.
This is for Grandpa. All right, here you go. Here's my stat for you. And this won't surprise you, but the numbers surprise me. The Bengals are 0-5 this season when they commit 2 or more, not 3, not 4, 2 or more turnovers. They are 0-5. When they commit 1 or less, they're 11-2. Here's the last part of that. They haven't had a turnover in their last 5 games.
Oh, so here's what I say. They're due.
They are
for
due.
A turnover. And, I take apple, cherry, or whatever kind of turnover.
Whatever kind you got.
But, yeah. I mean, and you probably can look at that stat the same with the Titans. If they don't have any turnovers, they all.
I got that one for you, too.
Oh, I knew you'd have it.
Titans are 11-1 this season when they commit 2 or less. All they got to do is 2 or less.
Oh, well, that's really
11-1. Wow. The only loss was to the Jets when they kicked field goals on their first 4 drives and they got right down there and couldn't score TD. They were 1-4 when they had 3 or more turnovers. They have no turnovers in 4 of their last 5 games. The only one was the Steelers game. They had 4 and they lost.
Wow. And speaking of stat, I think the Bengals played the Jets and lost to them as well.
Mike White.
Yeah,
NFL legend.
Yeah, he threw it all around the yard. Yeah, and they beat. So the Jets are sitting at home saying, guess what? we are not that far away. Even though it seems far away, guys.
It's far
away. It's right around the corner. We beat 2 teams in the divisional round. in the AFC.
Divisional round, and by the time you hear our voices tomorrow, will be about 24 hours away. But right now, it's time for us to get away and give way to 3HL.
Oh, like always, in between time, in the meantime, Mickey.
Yes, sir.
Peace.